Hello, and welcome to the Solar System by SpindlerAcademy.com. So today we're going to be talking about the solar system, um, which, and kind of more vaguely the universe. So if you don't know what those are, feel free to stay and listen. But it's just going to be a um, broad description of everything, pretty much. So let's start with some terminology, and I've tried to organize this by like largest to smallest, which obviously this isn't as small as you can go, but let's just try and get into it. So, what is the universe? Well, the universe is pretty much everything that we know exists. Um, Everything that we can see from telescopes, pretty much everything, including, the Earth. But we'll get into what the Earth is later, if you don't know. But if we go back to the Latin roots, uni means one. Um, so there's only one universe that we know of. Um, yeah. So then, what is the universe made up of? Well, it's made up of galaxies. Lots of galaxies. So, for example, this is the Andromeda galaxy, which is, I think, the closest. Let's look it up. Andromeda galaxy. Um, Nearest large galaxy to the Milky Way. Well, what is the Milky Way? The Milky Way is our galaxy that we're in. So, um, and what is a galaxy? A galaxy is just a collection of stars that are kind of clustered together and like orbiting potentially a black hole, um, which is just, I'm not going to get into what black holes are. Um, you can look that up if you want. But so the Andromeda galaxy is the closest galaxy to us, and this is a picture of it right here. And what are galaxies made up of? Well, galaxies are made up of stars, which is what our sun is. If you, um, galaxies are made up of stars. So our solar system is actually located within the Milky Way galaxy. And if we go back to Latin roots again, what is the solar system? Well, the solar system is the group of planets that are orbiting the sun, which sol just means sun in Latin. So, what is a star? Let's look that up. The star. A star is a luminous ball of gas, hydrogen, and helium that is held together by its own gravity. Nuclear fusion reactions in the core support the star against gravity. And so they get into, a technical definition, but the sun is the closest star to Earth. That's true too. So a star is what produces light, basically, that allows us to see, there's light in this room because of the sun that's in the sky that's orbiting, that the Earth is orbiting around. And the Earth is a planet that orbits the sun. And I think most planets orbit stars. Yeah, there are. I think it's a debate as to whether or not there are like planets that don't orbit stars, but that are just like flying around the galaxy. But I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. So we've covered the universe. We've covered what a galaxy is. We've covered what the solar system is. We've covered that our sun is a star. We've covered that the Earth is a planet. So, are there other planets? Yes, there are. The nearest ones, and this picture is not to scale. Well, the objects are to scale here, but like the Mercury, this planet right here is not this close to Venus, is not this close to Earth. But they just put them there to make that so that you can see all the four planets together. So that there's what's called the terrestrial planets that are the four that are closest to the sun. And they are as follows: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And Mercury is this one, Venus is this one. Venus actually is covered in a bunch of gas. So it doesn't, that's not the best picture of Venus. If I go Venus planet, we get, well, looks more like that if you look at it through a telescope. It's really bright. in the night sky. But yeah, this is a I think it's an infrared. I'm not sure about that, but it's looking through the clouds at the texture of the planet itself. Then this is Earth, where we are, or if you're watching this, unless you're like super far into the future on Mars somehow. And then this is Mars. Um, but yeah, so those are the terrestrial planets. Um, is there anything else I want to say about them? They're the ones that are the closest to the sun, and they're mostly made up of rock, and they're not. What makes them distinct from the other planets is that they're not gas giants. So what are the gas giants? Well, the gas giants are also called the Jovian planets, and there's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Some people say it's Uranus. I call it Uranus. That's how I was taught. But I don't know. I'll just call it Uranus. And then Jupiter and Saturn are actually really massive. Um, and then these all have rings too. So sorry, I'm like blanking and I shouldn't be. But Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Um, I think, yeah, this is Neptune. I'm pretty sure. Neptune is blue, right? Neptune. Yes, Neptune is blue. So these are the Jovian planets. Solar System. I want like one image of all of them. Yeah, so that's all of them together, I guess, and the sun. But the distances between like the sun and Mercury, like the scale I think is correct in this image, but the distances are not correct because they're actually way spread out. So okay, so we've covered the planets. Then there's some historical context. There used to be, at least when I was taught about the planets, there used to be 9 planets, not 8. And that's because Pluto was considered a planet, but it became considered a dwarf planet because, and a dwarf planet is just like a smaller planet. It's not like fully a planet. And Pluto is actually out past Neptune in terms of its orbit. So it'd be like placed like out here basically. And it has a moon called Charon, and this is Charon, this is Pluto. And what is a moon? Well, a moon is, it's like our moon. That you probably know what our moon is. You might not though. But it's just another planet that's smaller. They're not even planet like it that orbits the bigger planet. So an object that orbits another object is a moon. So yeah, that's a good enough definition. Or let's see, let's see what the actual definition is. What is a moon to a planet? Natural satellites orbit planets. Yeah, it's kind of debated, but well, it's not debated, but it's a celestial body that makes an orbit around a planet. Yeah, there are 8 planets. There's dwarf planets and minor planets. So Pluto used to be a planet, but they reclassified it as a dwarf planet, and there's actually other dwarf planets. So one of them, I'm just going to skip to here, is Ceres, and this is Ceres, which is also a dwarf planet, and it's located within the asteroid belt. And oh, these are not I'm going to talk about these out of order, but the asteroid belt is in between Mars and Jupiter. So the asteroid belt is like, well, like here in this diagram, but of course it's a circle that orbits the sun, that goes around the sun. And then there's the Kuiper belt, which is actually where the Pluto is located. And then some other terms you might see are what an astronomical unit, which is just, I'm pretty sure it's the distance between the sun to the earth. Astronomical unit. And yeah, it's from the earth to the sun, yeah. Okay. And that's a distance. A light year is also a distance, and a light year is the distance it takes for light to travel in a year. And that's another distance. I guess I could put them here. So that many kilometers I could put right here. Not that it matters, but there, and then a light year is that many kilometers. So obviously a light year is a lot bigger than an astronomical unit. Oh, I should put kilometers here. Okay, so then we covered Ceres, we covered what the asteroid belt is, we covered what the Kuiper belt is. Let's also cover Oumuamua. So the Oumuamua, I think I'm pronouncing that right, I could be wrong, this is an artist's rendition of it. It's the first interstellar object that's been discovered. And Oumuamua. And it was discovered in 2021. And it's the first interstellar object detected passing through the solar system. So, oh, just kidding. It was discovered in 2017. And I don't know why 2021 came up then, but it was discovered in 2017. And it has a really long, let's go to the Wikipedia page for it. Oh, I guess it has an asterisk there. I'll have to change, or I can change that right now. Okay, well, I don't know why it's bold, but bold and make it, well, it's dark, but whatever. It's really long, it was really long. It's now it's not in the solar system anymore, I don't think. But it was the first interstellar object detected. And I wonder if there's anything else interesting that I can see. Well, you can look at it. You can look it up too if you want to. And then lastly, I want to talk about the Oort cloud. And I might be pronouncing that wrong too. But this is often presented as like it just exists as a fact. And I'm going to go to, well, you can watch, there's a National Geographic video that presents it as fact, and I that's my chair, by the way. I kind of am disappointed that they present it as a fact, because it's not. It's just a hypothetical, and we can go to, I can prove that. If you go to NASA Oort cloud, and go to the bottom. Though long-period comets observed among the planets are thought to originate in the Oort cloud, no object has been observed in the distant Oort cloud itself, leaving it a theoretical concept for the time being. But it remains the most widely accepted explanation for the origin of long-period comets. So it is possible that it exists, but it's not a fact. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.